humans aren't born out of laying around on their asses. We've been born out of conquering a world. We're the dominant species. We built all this. We're powerful, and we're beautiful, and we're ready to build the next level of civilization in God's plan. But you must stop bowing to those who want to make you a victim. You must become the victor. If you love God and you want to build a pro-human future, then you are an enemy of the New World Order and Satanism. They want us shut down because we have the Spirit. I'm jacked into the source. I know the secret, and I want to see you empowered. But you have to believe in yourself first. This is the truth, and everyone knows it.
So, ladies and gentlemen, today we're going to be reacting to a clip from Asmongold where he makes some new rules for his subreddit and potentially his Discord, probably his Twitch chat as well. And that is that you are no longer going to be able to criticize trans people. No, I'm not being hyperbolic. That's the statement that he's making. You can't criticize trans people in his presence because he thinks it's transphobic and he thinks that it's cringe. As a contrast to that, and this is one of the beautiful things about the internet being decentralized and not having one uniform rule, if you don't like what Asmongold is saying there, if you don't like the fact that he is basically simping for some of the worst people in the world with just absolutely hideous ideas, you can come and subscribe to my channel, and you can get notified of my YouTube community tab where I shitpost things like this. You see, that's the beautiful thing about the internet. Asmongold can run his subreddit, his Discord, he can run his Twitch however he wants. And I can choose to run it however I want. We have a difference of opinion on this. And this is also something that I want to address. I've had this comment more than a couple times where somebody says, I didn't realize you were an Asmon fan channel, but now I see it. I've had that more than a couple times because I've agreed with Asmongold on a number of things. But I think this is a good opportunity to illustrate that I disagree with Asmongold on 1,000 different things. I think he's absolutely wrong on a whole bunch of stuff. And I've been over it, but apparently people need another reminder. So this is yet another thing that I disagree with Asmon about. So before I dive in and just give my opinion on this whole topic, I want to play Asmongold in this clip here, and he can articulate his point of view. And then I'm going to counter it because I think he's absolutely wrong to do this, but he has every right to do it, but I think he's wrong.
Are as likely as cis women to suffer sexual violence. This post is just dogpiling trans issue. So I've been seeing a lot of people that, like, my subreddit has had a lot of comments and a lot of posts that are about, like, basically trans people are bad.
So my position on this is, yes, they are. Transgenderism is bad. What it represents is bad. It's something that should be treated with compassion. You don't look at somebody who's schizophrenic and go, I hate that person. No, you're like, you want to get that person help. This is the same thing. The problem is that you have two groups of people. One, weak people like Asmongold who are just absolutely incapable of talking about this as what it is, a mental issue. Instead, they want to sort of affirm it and protect it and play this role. And then other people that are invested in it in some way, either financially or because it's part of their identity or because they realize that it's a social contagion and they can use it to their advantage in some way. But I think that all of these people are acting in the worst interest of other human beings for either their own virtue or their own profit. And I don't think it helps anyone to affirm this stuff. I think that it should be rejected in its entirety, completely and totally. I think that if you want to mock transgenders and transgenderism, I think that should be perfectly fine. Perfectly fine.
This shit's, like, dumb. Like, y'all need to stop doing this. Like, it's just weird and dumb. Like, I get that, like, some people want to make a joke about it. Like, I don't really care about the jokes or whatever. Like, that's fine. But, like, there's just been a lot of, like, and the punchline is that trans people are bad jokes. We're gonna be deleting a lot of these, right? Like, it's just mean-spirited, negative, dumb shit. There's no conversation about it. It's like trans people are ugly. Aha, joke.jpg. Stop it, guys.
I don't really see much of that. I think this is a cope. I think a lot of times, yeah, people post a picture of like a, you know, a game character that's made by somebody in the West and it's ugly. And oh yeah, the character is like non-binary or trans. I think that's the majority of the joke. Is that yeah, they're ugly and yeah, these people on the left that work in game development are freaks and they put this shit out there. There's nothing wrong with that, at least from my point of view. I think that this sort of attitude of wanting to censor certain stuff, wanting to clamp down on certain stuff, I think it's just indicative of who he is and the platform that he runs on. I think it's just a reality of being on Twitch. I think that Asmongold is aware that the people at Twitch are downright communist. I mean, these are a bunch of mentally ill freaks. And I think that he's just trying to look out for his channel, which I don't begrudge him. I don't know what I would do in his situation if I had his following, his position. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just a small content creator that makes videos for fun. But my position is very different than his. And that's okay. Well, we can have differences, we can have disagreements. My position on the trans community is that I don't support them. I don't support what they're doing. I don't affirm them because I think that it's wrong to affirm them. And I'm not just talking about from like a biblical standpoint. I'm talking about the fact that these people are trying to redefine language. They're trying to redefine words. I mean, like, there is so much I could go over as it relates to this. There is so much I could go. I mean, like, once you go down this rabbit hole and you realize that no, it's not just a punchline of a joke, that really some of the worst people in the world are affiliated with this community, it starts to become ridiculous to watch somebody get bent out of shape because, there were some mean words that were said. And keep in mind also, I just want to reiterate this, that this is the same group that went after people in the most vicious, cruel, and destructive way possible as it relates to Hogwarts Legacy. A lot of people forget about Hogwarts Legacy, but the way that trans people and the quote-unquote allies went after people was absolutely disgraceful. It was disgusting. And to continue to pretend that this group doesn't have a higher than average propensity for violence and degeneracy and bullying and cruelty and just mental illness, I think that that's just being dishonest. Personally, that's my opinion.
Just fucking dial it the fuck down. Dial it the fuck down. Let's stop doing it, right? Anyway, so some chat, there's way too many bigots. Yeah, just because I talk critically on the issue doesn't mean that I hate them, okay? Like, please.
I mean, we're talking about jokes here, for the most part. Asmongold on his subreddit and stuff doesn't get paragraphs, or at least not that I've seen. Maybe their mods are working overtime, but I don't see paragraphs of trans hatred. Mostly it's just jokes, poking fun at this absolutely ridiculously awful community. That, I mean, every opportunity that these people have to do something good, they always ruin it. They always turn it into something just profane and gross and make it something to do with hate and violence. It's their hate and violence against other people. And the thing is, it's such, for me, it's such an easy issue to get right. Because for me, it's sort of like mobile lobotomies. At the time, it seemed like, oh, this is great. This is definitely going to help these people. And we look back on them and we go, how did they let that happen? Well, guess what? In the future, they're going to look back at us and go, how did you allow yourselves the moral high ground when you were mutilating children? Where you had content creators like Moist Critical come out and lose a debate with Sneeko because he affirmed child sex changes and taking HRT at the age of 9. Now, I know that he walked it back after he got pushback, but keep in mind that Sneeko was arguing against the age of consent, and Moist Critical lost that debate. How is that even? I didn't even know that was possible. But it is. Because he took a position that was even worse, which is that children should be able to consent to mutilation and transition. Yeah, this issue for me is fairly simple. It's fairly simple. It's one that should not be affirmed. I think affirming this is a social contagion. It's a social choice, but it's evil. It is absolutely terrible. And if you're a trans person that's against, women being just absolutely dominated by men in their sports, if you're somebody who's against the grooming and the castration of children, if you're against all of these more terrible elements, you're not into the cat ranch or, Keffel stuff, and you're just somebody who's chill, who's, just likes anime and likes internet culture, I have no problem with you. You're perfectly welcome on my channel, but just understand, you're going to get, you're probably going to get made fun of because the rest of the people in your community, unfortunately, are batshit and are just downright evil. I mean, just downright evil. So anyway, ladies and gentlemen, that's the beauty of the internet. It's a contrast. You can choose. You can choose who you want to support, how you want to support them. I have other videos to do on Asmongold where I think he gets things precisely right. But every once in a while, it's important to remind people that, no, I'm not an Asmongold fan channel. I'm not a fan channel of any of your favorite content creators. If I agree with them, I'll agree with them. And I'll say that I agree with them unapologetically. If I disagree with them, I'll say that too. No matter who it is, no matter how big they are, no matter how angry you may get that I'm being critical of your favorite content creator, I will always be the one to come out and articulate what I actually feel about this topic. I'm not looking for brownie points. I'm not looking to virtue signal. I'm just simply saying that I think supporting the trans community is extremely cringe. Banning people for making jokes or, maybe, less than savory comments about them because, look at what they've done to entertainment. Look at what these people have done, the LGBT community. Look at what they've done to entertainment. Like, if you want an example of why there's so much animus, it's not just that the LGBT community is wrong, and it is wrong. Most of them are just deviant lifestyles that are trying to masquerade as an identity. But if you want to take a look at the fruits of their labor, and that's really what you should judge people on, is the fruits of their actions and the fruits of their words. The LGBT community has pretty much had unchecked power in entertainment for the last 10, 15 years. What did they choose to do with that? All the trans characters in comic books are ugly, disfigured, disgusting. People have pretty much rejected it. When they get access to the Superman IP, they make Superman's son gay. And the whole plot of the book is about him going on a date with another boy. I mean, the whole thing is so disgusting and self-serving and, just deranged. So, no, I'm not going to get on here and go, guys, Asmon's right. We really need to consider the feeling of these freaks that have tried to ruin society and are doing their damnness to try to redefine the definition on words. And it's not the majority of them. It's just a bunch of, it's just a bunch of people who aren't trans. No, I don't buy that. That's Asmon's cope. his biggest cope is that it's not really the trans community, that it's just everyone adjacent to the trans community. The trans community is fine, perfect, never does anything wrong, except for all the shootings of Christian churches and Keffels, and that whole thing, and the fact that there's never any pushback to like Hogwarts Legacy, and there's never any counter to any of this LGBT stuff. There's never like a conservative LGBTQ style movement that pushes back against the most deranged elements. No, it's usually just radio silence. And when, like Dave Chappelle said, one of their trans friends gets bullied to suicide, nobody talks about it. Nobody fights back against it. So no, I don't support this community. I don't affirm this community. I think that they're awful. I think that they're genuinely freaks. I think that a lot of them really shouldn't be on the street. They should be in cells, and they should be getting medication and therapy and help. And that's the difference, is that people on the left wish violence against people they don't like. I wish help on people I don't like. I wish them to get help, to get the medication, to get the time and the effort from a trained professional, and the medication they need to maybe stabilize them, to help them live somewhat of a normal life, and to be able to live a fulfilling existence, not one based on hedonism and just lust and degeneracy. And that's my personal opinion. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for watching. I appreciate it. I'll see you next time.